Hey everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I am Dom, of course, and today I am joined by my friend Isaac.
What's up, guys?
How you doing today?
Pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good. We're just going to talk about a little movie here. A little movie that we watched on Netflix that came out on the 25th of August. What would that movie be, Isaac?
That movie is the American adaptation of Death Note.
Directed by Adam Wingard, who also directed such things as The Blair Witch, or Blair Witch, like the third one, not The Blair Witch Project.
I think he did Blair Witch, The Guest, and You're Next. And he's also directing the upcoming Godzilla vs. Kong.
Ooh, that'd be an interesting topic for another podcast.
Yeah.
I actually liked the new Blair Witch. I thought it was pretty. Not like a remake, obviously, because it was a sequel, but I thought it was a worthy sequel to the original The Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, it's definitely nothing like that second one. What was it called? The Book of Shadows or whatever?
We don't talk about that one.
Something along that.
Anyways, I did not see Your Next, or what was the other one?
The Guest.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one either.
They're both really, really good films. Adam Wingard, like, most of his direction, he just, he does, like, low-budget horror movies. And that's what I kind of respect him for, because that's what he's gotten into the game by doing.
Okay, so, that being said, he did direct this new Death Note adaptation for Netflix, and what were your general thoughts on his direction here?
I think he did a really, really good job. Everybody, they're not liking the movie just because so many people are comparing it to the source material. If you guys didn't know, Death Note is an anime and a manga also. But so many people are just comparing it to the source material. If they put that, like, all out of the way, then I think Death Note it's a really great time.
Yeah, so for this review, guys, I know it's very hard to watch something, and like myself personally, I am in love with the anime.
Oh yeah, me
I've
too.
never had a chance to read the manga yet, but the anime is like one of my, not only my favorite animes of all time, it's actually like one of my favorite shows of all time. And but to be fair to this movie as an adaptation, I don't think that in order for, like, I don't think adaptations should just be shot for shot a retelling of its source material. So regarding that, we're basing our opinions today, basing the movie on its own merits. So we're
not
basically
gonna-
taking the source material out of our head and basing it and judging it as a movie.
We're not gonna be comparing it the whole entire time.
And I know that's hard to do for a lot of people, and that's exactly, like, I've been kind of recording this just a couple days after the initial release of the movie, and I've been kind of like trolling the chat boards and stuff and the comment sections of different videos and whatnot.
Yeah.
And this movie is kind of getting panned. Maybe rightfully so, maybe not, but we'll get into that. But 99% of the complaints that I've been seeing,
Yeah.
and maybe it's the vocal minority, and maybe some people have just just hatred for this movie or whatever, but I feel like a lot of the people that are disliking this movie are strongly comparing it to the actual source material, the anime, which is loved by many, to be fair, but they're acting as if it should be the same thing, but just live action, and I don't think that's exactly right to assume. They're like, oh well, Ryuk was like this in the anime, and Light was like this in the anime.
Yeah, they gotta realize that it's just like Adam Wingard. He's just making what he wants. He said multiple times he doesn't want to make it exactly like the anime. He wants to make it like his own version, like what he would do if this teenager got a hold of a Death Note.
In Seattle.
Yeah, in Seattle. So yeah, obviously it's in America. So it's way different than the anime, which takes place in Japan.
Okay, so that was just a heads up. There might be. Would you say there would be kind of spoilers in this review?
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
podcast?
We're gonna talk about some spoilers.
Okay, so spoiler warning right here. We haven't got into anything yet, but we're about to kind of dive into it. So if you have not seen, well, I guess if you're curious, then keep listening. But I would recommend, if you haven't seen the manga or the North American adaptation of Death Note, that you turn away and then revisit the podcast when you've got a chance to check those out first. So that is right there. That's your spoiler warning. All right, so basically the summary of Death Note is this kid named Light. He's kind of a nerd, generally, and one day this notebook falls out of the sky, and he finds it, and when he picks it up, he's basically able to talk, and he can see and talk to this kind of the Shinigami, he's a death god named Ryuk. And basically Ryuk explains to him that anybody whose name and face, if he can know what their face looks like and he writes their name in the notebook, he can choose how and when they die. But there's a bunch of different rules and stipulations to go along with that, but that's pretty much what happens. He gets a hold of that, so he's basically the owner of this notebook, and he, in some instances, he kind of goes power hungry.
Yeah.
Starts killing a lot of. It's exploring the concept of what would you do if you could write anybody's name in this notebook, and then their life would be taken.
Which I think what he his intentions of using the note, his intentions are good, because he's, like we did say, spoilers. So he's killing criminals, people who have committed horrible crimes. So honestly, if I was using the Death Note, that's probably what I would do in his situation.
Yeah.
Because you're getting rid of all the bad people and trying to make the world a better place. But then that's where the police come in and they don't see your point of view.
Yeah, so Light has good intentions at first. Obviously, he's really only killing people who are perceived in society as bad, rapists, murderers, anybody who's pretty much the scum of the earth he's taking out.
Yeah.
He begins to develop this persona. People believe that it's actually a godlike figure named Kira, who is basically taking out all these bad people. It forces a lot of criminals and stuff to come clean in attempts to not be killed by Kira, and it attracts a lot of attention from the FBI and Secret Service and stuff, and that's when the best detective in the world, they claim, his name is L, is introduced, and it's basically a cat and mouse game, back and forth between Light and L, and that's kind of where the magic of the show comes in, is trying to see them outweigh each other. That's the basic premise of Death Note. But if you guys are listening to this, you probably have already seen that and you already know the summary. So
Yeah.
Let's just get into what we thought of the movie here. You want to take this away? What did you think of? We'll start with our general likes of the movie,
All right.
and then we'll get into some things that we didn't really like.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to start us off here?
I liked the movie, but there were just sprinkles around the movie that there were just some stuff that I really didn't like about it. But I really liked the movie just in general. By far my favorite thing about the movie is the ending. A lot of people really don't like the ending, but I don't know. I really like the ending.
I mean, we're going full spoilers here, so again, spoiler warning. But
Alright.
what specifically about the ending?
So, if you like, you guys probably saw the movie. In the ending, Light's father confronts him, and he's like, "Oh, I like you did it the whole entire time. You are Kira," and then so he basically glosses over the whole entire thing with the Ferris wheel scene, which we will talk about that. He glosses over how he did that whole entire thing, and then L, he remembers something that Light said to him earlier on in the movie about like a page in a calculus book, and so he goes and visits Light's girlfriend's house and looks at her calculus book, and he finds a page of the Death Note. And we are to think that L writes down his name because of what Ryuk says when you just hear laughing, and then Light looks at Ryuk and he's like, "What's so funny?" And then he's like, "Humans are so interesting," which I love that line. Ryuk has said that line so many times in the like we said, we're not going to try to compare it to the anime.
Yeah,
but he said that so many times in the anime. It's just a cool little. It's a cool little
like nugget,
like wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the anime.
Yeah,
I really liked that. But yeah, like it shows you, and Keith Steinfeld as L was like he was really good. But like the facial expressions that he was making, this is like probably what I loved about the ending. The facial expressions he was making when he got the page, it was so good. He showed anger.
such a range of emotions
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
in that one like 10-second scene.
Yeah,
Uh,
he showed anger. He showed that he himself could go a little crazy, and he also showed that like the facial expression, like, should I actually be doing this? And I thought it was like I think he's a great actor. He really tied that movie up.
Yeah, and I like almost like you said, Ryuk popped out at the end.
Yeah.
Which made us like assume that. I mean, we're already jumping to the end of the movie. We'll hop back here in a second.
Yeah,
but
it just made us assume that like L did write his name down.
Yeah, but we don't know. So, it from what I've heard, and I've only seen Blair Witch in this as of right now, of Adam Wingard, but he likes to leave his movies kind of open ended.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
let the audience kind of make their own headcanon as to what happened.
Yeah.
And like we assume that he wrote L's name down, but maybe he didn't. Maybe that's why Ryuk was laughing.
Yeah.
But then it's like, then, oh, haha, you still gotta deal with this shithead.
Yeah.
You know, he'd choose not to kill you, and now he's gonna try to humiliate you publicly, or do something, because he still doesn't know L's name.
Yeah.
Or at least, he never found out, did he? Never.
I don't know if the audience did or not when Watari was looking over his like file. I don't know if we saw the name or not. I didn't really pay that much attention to that.
But Light, he never found out his name because Watari got killed.
Oh yeah,
So
that scene's great
yeah.
too.
So I mean, maybe he didn't write his name, and that's why Ryuk was laughing. But
Or maybe
I kind of thought.
Yeah,
that he
I think
did.
he is laughing because he knows that, like, Light didn't know yet that he's like about to die.
Yeah. So, what is not okay? So, my judgment of the movie is not basing it on my previous love for the anime, or at least I'm trying not to.
Just trying to base it like on the movie itself.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that was a general likes. I agree with you that the ending was probably one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Other than that, the character of Ryuk, voiced by William Dafoe.
Oh
Or
yeah.
Willem Dafoe. I always say William. By Willem Dafoe, he's easily my favorite part of the movie.
Oh.
And also, one of my dislikes is that they underutilized him.
He
in the anime, he's
in the movie every scene.
I'm not trying to compare it to the anime, but I felt like if he had more screen time, or more of the devil on Light's shoulder, trying to like start. He was there, but we just didn't see him like a lot of the time.
I said he was in the movie every scene.
And I know.
Sorry.
He wasn't in the movie.
Yeah, I accidentally said. I was trying to say he's in the anime like every single scene. But that's like it's sort of comparing it to the
I think he was just like one of the best characters in the movie, so I would have liked to seen more of him.
yeah.
Regardless whether we saw him a lot in the anime.
He's in the movie for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and every scene where he does kind of poke in, and I know they did it for a lot of budgetary reasons, and
Mm-hmm. It was a low budget film.
yeah, but regardless, I feel like if he had played a bigger role, like he was the little devil on Light's shoulders, trying to kind of whispering like evil things into his ear,
Yeah.
that it would have been a little better.
And like you were saying, to me, whenever he was in a scene, he stole it. It was just like it brightened my face like so much.
Yeah, so this movie picks up. Light finds the thing, and this movie is an hour and a half long, or just over.
About an hour and 40 minutes, I think.
My biggest gripe with this movie is that, see, generally I did enjoy it. I found it fun. I can recognize it's not a phenomenal film.
Yeah.
Like the film making of it has a lot of weaknesses and stuff, but overall I had fun with it, and I would enjoy rewatching it. Sometimes when I don't have much going on, I felt like this movie should have been like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, the biggest flaw of the movie is definitely the
The
runtime.
pacing.
Yeah.
It's like the character motivations, I think, are there. They're just not fleshed out on screen.
They just like go by so fast.
Yeah, it's like Light goes from finding the Death Note to figuring out like all the rules in like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and then in a whole montage scene, which lasts like 3 minutes, he kills 400 people. So
I wish
like,
I
if-
wish they
if
would
they
have
had-
spent so much more time showing how he did that.
and one of the not to see, this is where it gets hard because we do know the source material.
Yeah, it's really hard not. It's like we said earlier, like you said earlier, it's really hard not to try
Yeah.
to compare it to the anime. But there's just so much things that like they picked out of the anime to put in this film. It's just so hard not to try not to compare 'em.
Yeah, and that's where it gets hard because I think it's unfair. The pacing was definitely an issue.
Yeah.
And if there had been more, one of the beautiful things about about the anime and the source material was the fleshed out cat and mouse game between Light and L, and how they're trying to best each other. And I mean that's like the heart of the anime.
That scene where they meet in
and
the movie was so good though.
It was good, but the whole from when L was like trying to figure out who Kira is.
Yeah.
Kira is Light, by the way.
Yeah.
When he's trying to figure out who Kira is, like when he first jumps on the case to when he finds out who Kira is, it's like 10 minutes. Like it's like 20 minutes maybe.
Yeah, like
He finds out so fast, and
that's another little.
that's like one of the hardest things that is achieved. Because like, how do you find somebody who's? They just needed to flesh that out more. Him maybe going about trying to narrow down who Kira actually is.
That's another little dislike for me because he's like, there's the scene where he's telling everybody that he's gonna find Kira, and then literally like 2 minutes later he's talking to Light's dad, and then he's like, I have reason to believe that your son is Kira. I'm like, how the heck did you get that?
Yeah, like he had no idea, and then like 2 scenes later he just knew that it was Light. And if they had shown that process of him narrowing it down, and maybe like had a couple of confrontations with Light before that.
Before the
scene.
diner scene.
I feel like it just comes down to the pacing, really. That was my biggest dislike of the movie. I felt like the acting, in some points, I did not like the cast, or not necessarily the casting, but the character Mia.
Oh yeah, I didn't
She-
like her either.
Again, it falls back to the pacing kind of because they didn't develop their friendship at all. And
Relationship.
Light's motivations for sharing the Light basically starts talking to her, and within 5 minutes shares that he has a godly ability
Yeah.
to kill like anybody. Like, I don't know that
I would not do that if I had it.
I don't know that I would tell somebody who I've been married to for 5 years, like immediately that I had that power. Like, that's a lot of.
Let alone meeting
That's
like
a lot of
that
weight.
day and then just
They just met. Like, what?
yeah.
What if things had gone south between them, and then she had told everybody that he was the guy, and then she would have.
Well, then he could kill her though.
Yeah, but
If she like ran away in terror and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell everybody now."
yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't that they were trying to cram what should have been like a 2 hour, 2.5 hour movie,
Because
and
it's
condense.
like,
It's a lot to chew.
because
and,
again, it's comparing it to the anime, but the anime is 37 episodes.
and they're half an hour long, so it's
Yeah,
about
each of them-
17 hours of.
Yeah, and then trying to put that into a 1 hour and 40-minute movie. It's just like it's cramming so much together.
Yeah. I did. So, like I said, let's see. I don't know. So, Light was actually played by Nat Wolff.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like his casting, and his acting, he did pretty good. There were some scenes where he was kind of weaker in his delivery and stuff. But overall, pretty good. The casting of L is Lakeith Stanfield.
Oh my goodness!
You were super excited about this. A lot of people initially were. I'm just gonna address the elephant in the room, which doesn't even make any sense because
yeah,
they were up.
it's-
Okay,
yeah.
so the anime, if you don't know, took place in Japan,
Mhm.
and basically they never address this character L. They never address his actual like ethnicity.
Yeah, they did say that he
Yeah,
grew up in England.
Yeah,
but like
everybody assumes he is
white.
white, or not white, but everybody assumes he's white or Japanese.
Yeah,
It's kind of the way he's drawn. It's kind of like not exactly clear.
yeah, he's really really pale.
But yeah, I mean, he's and as far as skin tone, he's white. As far as skin tone, he's white.
Yeah.
And I think in the manga, actually, he's German.
yeah,
but-
he's from Germany.
Anyways, so when they cast Lakeith, obviously Lakeith is I think, is he from America?
Yeah, he's
African American.
Yeah, he's African American.
I didn't know if he was like from Canada or.
No, he's African American.
Okay, so they were upset about the casting of L because he was African American.
That's
Which
so
was-
that's so dumb.
It was so stupid.
Because like
People
look at yeah.
leave it to the internet to not be rational, right?
Yeah. I mean, Lakeith
Just like the comment
Lakeith-
section of this video right now.
Yeah, Lakeith got me for like he hooked me into his acting career in Get Out. Remember him in Get Out? He played the
Yeah, the guy at the beginning and the
yeah
guy that ended up
when they like sort of brainwashed
get
him.
out of
somehow.
here, get out.
Yeah,
Yeah, the guy that
'Cause,
the
like-
actual guy that says get out in the movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
He did so well in that movie too because like at the very beginning he was playing like a whole different character, and then in the middle of the movie when you're introduced to him again, he is not like himself at all.
Which made sense to the narrative of the movie, but then like that immediately like click, and then he was like a different character. He was his old character again.
Yeah, it
And
was
then-
like
Yeah, and then right back the next scene, like back to
yeah.
yeah.
But Lakeith got me, like, he got me ever since then. And when I heard that he was going to be L, I was so excited because Lakeith, he is a great actor.
Yeah. Mia, the character of Mia. We're just gonna talk about the character because I'm not familiar with who is it played by Margaret Qualley.
I think so.
I didn't do any prior research, but I don't know where I've seen her before, and I don't really know her IMDb credits or anything. So
I think she did okay at acting. It's just, like, she didn't get really much to work with, like character-wise.
yeah, there wasn't much for her character. I mean, she was there, but there wasn't like a lot of
Yeah.
range for her
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
So her character was shitty and like just like a person. Like, she was a bad person. But just kind of one note, and I don't know.
I liked
Yeah.
Light in the movie, though. In my opinion, I like Nat Wolf.
What do you-
I thought Light was pretty good in the movie.
What do you think of Shea Wiggum?
Oh,
Yeah.
his dad, right?
Yeah, he played James Turner, Light's dad.
I thought he actually did a really good job.
At first, I felt like I don't know.
Some of his line delivery in the first two scenes he was in was
Yeah.
it was iffy, but then once the movie progressed, he started getting like better and better and better for me.
Yeah, he got better. That last scene he was in, like
Oh,
I was like,
it's
it was really dramatic, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this guy
Like, that was
can't,
really good.
this guy can act. But at the first couple of scenes, I wasn't a fan. But
Yeah.
and then we talked about Willem Dafoe already. Perfect voice for Ryuk. Right when they
Yeah.
announced his casting like a couple months ago.
Voice and mocap, he did really good.
Yeah, well, yeah, face cap.
Yeah.
Motion capture on the face.
Mm-hmm.
Underutilized, but fantastic job. He basically is my favorite thing about this movie.
Yeah.
Don't really know much else about the characters that we should talk about. This is mainly the main ones anyway.
Yeah. What did you think of Elle? What did you think of like Lakeith's performance and stuff?
Lakeith, I really enjoyed actually. He was if I couldn't choose Ryuk, he'd probably be my favorite part.
And going back to what like people were so like when people were so mad about him being African American, it adds nothing and it subtracts nothing.
Yeah.
It's just he's another race. It's
just
it's just like he
all
just
people,
plays like
like-
he's just a regular guy.
It didn't
People
change.
yeah.
It didn't change like.
It didn't change anything in the movie.
Yeah.
He just did. Well, it sort of did because he did great freaking performance.
His acting changed something in the movie. Like he gave.
Yeah,
he
but
gave a
his
great
race
performance.
changed. Yeah, his race
But
changed.
him
nothing.
being African American or black,
It
didn't-
never bothered me.
never faulted the movie at all,
Mm-mm.
and nor should it. But
Yeah.
that was just a stupid internet
Yeah.
freak out,
Really, really dumb.
mob mentality type.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's white in the anime, and even the creator like said that.
Yeah.
Well, he's actually German, but
Yeah.
you know.
What did you think about Adam Wingard in it? Because I know you asked me.
Who knows how much Adam Wingard had to do with the time limitations he was given and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I thought his direction on some of the transitions. He's very stylized as a director.
Mm-hmm.
Like you remember some of those car transitions where the cars drive in front and then it was.
And it was when Light was talking to Wataru, right?
Yeah.
When Wataru was like
Yeah.
brainwashed or something.
Just some of his transitions are like kind of weird to me. Like it flows very fast. I feel like
Yeah.
his transitions make the movie feel faster than it is.
I sort of liked it because I really think he's a really good stylized director.
Yeah, and then the movie was already condensed, like, jumping from, in movies when you're like, it cuts from one scene to the next, and you're like, how did that character get there? Or how did the character know how to go there?
Yeah.
I feel like it was already condensed like that,
Mhm.
and then his stylization,
His
kinda made
direction just made it go faster and faster.
Because I felt when the movie got over, I felt like we'd only been watching it for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And it had been an hour and 45 minutes, and I
Mhm.
was like, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it should have been another hour,
Mm-hmm.
or so. I don't know. It was shot very well, and like the camera movements and stuff.
It all just
The
like,
cinematography
yeah.
was like really good.
the one flaw. It always just goes right back to the
pacing.
runtime and the pacing.
Yeah. So I don't know how much he's at fault for any of that. Like I said, who knows if Netflix gave him limitations
Yeah,
about
yeah.
runtime but I mean they said they were on budgetary concerns, so
Yeah.
how much they could shoot. They had like $5 budget or whatever.
Which he does in like every one of his movies.
Yeah,
That's
so-
why I can't wait for Kong versus Godzilla because he actually gets a pretty big budget to work with.
Yeah, and they said he was kind of crunched for time in that interview, and we watched an interview with.
We watched an interview with Adam Wingard.
Anyways, yeah, so that's about all I got for that. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't my favorite, but I feel like it wasn't necessarily his fault.
Mm-hmm. What did you
Yeah,
like better,
a lot
the
of it.
direction in this movie or the direction in Blair Witch?
Blair Witch.
You did.
Yeah. a lot of the I don't know if it was him or a cinematographer, but a lot of the atmosphere, like in this movie, felt very creepy, especially when Ryuk was involved,
Yeah.
and I loved that. So that was good stylized choices there.
Did you like this movie or Blair Witch more?
I want to say Blair Witch.
Mm.
Um,
I liked Blair Witch, but I think I like this movie a little better. Just like very, very slightly, because I really liked Blair Witch a lot.
I just like again. I just felt like the pacing and the characters were a little
Yeah, yeah.
were they were they were allowed to breathe better in that movie.
That's what we keep going back to. It like the one main flaw of the movie is just the runtime and the pacing.
There was like zero character development and zero. There wasn't a lot of stuff for anybody to do in this movie. Like it just like every scene was just like rushed to the next scene. That's what it felt like. Like overall, it said fun, but not phenomenal.
Okay, can we talk about the music choice in this movie?
It didn't.
It didn't bother me. I sort of liked it.
When I first watched it, I almost ignored it. Like I didn't even.
You didn't recognize it, or
I just felt like it fit. Like I didn't, just because it takes place in North America.
I felt like it fit too because it's a weird movie by itself.
Seattle's kind of hippie-ish.
It's a weird movie by itself, and adding sort of a weird soundtrack to that, I thought it was actually a really good choice.
Yeah, if you place it in Seattle and then play like some Japanese soundtrack over it, it's
gonna be really weird.
It's gonna feel like really cheesy.
Yeah.
So maybe the soft like '80s rock was a better choice.
Like
in that instance.
Yeah, like the song that they played on the Ferris wheel scene. I thought that was I loved that scene so much. I thought the music choice for that was so good.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it felt maybe they got in the editing bay and it felt like it fit better than some like I don't even know, some anime soundtrack. Who knows? But a lot of people were making fun of it, but I didn't even notice it like that. I didn't feel like it was distracting when I was first watching it, and then we went back and watched a couple scenes that we wanted to brush up on before this, you know.
In the finale. The finale of it, and with the song choice, I really liked it.
Yeah, it works.
I forget the names of like all these songs, but it worked in the movie.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite, but I felt like Mia could have been anybody else. As far as like the general casting, there was an odd amount of Asian extras in the background though.
Yeah, it's sort of like paying homage to.
I've been to Seattle. There's not that many Asians. I mean,
it's just paying homage to the anime though.
Yeah, I get that, but placing it in Seattle. And there was an absurd amount of Asians.
Yeah.
Like, not that I care, but...
not that it's, like, a bad thing, but it's just, like, it was sort of a little distracting.
Yeah. Especially, I don't know. I've been to Seattle a few times. And
yeah, me too.
there's obviously, it's very diverse culture there, but...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It felt kind of weird.
Can we talk about the Ferris wheel scene that I've been talking about?
Yeah, go for it if you want to make any more points on it.
Alright, so, like, basically the Ferris wheel scene is, like, right before it's at homecoming, and if we haven't said it before, Light and Mia, they're sharing the Death Note. Light is the true owner of the Death Note, but Mia, she's also helping him be Kira. And so it takes place at the school dance, and Mia basically tells him that, she has this sort of plan, and that she kills a whole bunch of, she's killed, a whole bunch of people, and to make it seem like Light isn't Kira, she wrote his name in it, and there's also a rule in it, if you write somebody's name on a page, and then you burn the page, they will come back to life, that won't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Ferris wheel scene, Light, he has this huge plan, and they address it in the finale. He goes over his whole entire plan, and I thought it was really good. But the way they got to the Ferris wheel, did you like the whole thing with Elle chasing after Light? when they were just like in a one-on-one, just like it seemed like a completely different movie to me.
That whole sequence felt like more of a Bourne movie.
Yeah, like a Bourne or like Mission Impossible or something like that.
Their back and forth is supposed to be more. I mean, again, it's
Psychological.
It's an adaptation, so I can see something like that happening in North America.
Yeah, yeah.
But I like better when they're. Again, they didn't really have the psychological back and forth in this movie, but harboring back. This is where it gets sticky because we're not comparing it to this. I guess we are in a sense, but
we're trying so hard not to compare
Yeah,
it to the
yeah.
anime,
And
but it's like it's all like
it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's very very difficult.
But I'm just
We're just gonna say some stuff about the anime.
so you'll see. The anime I would give like an A plus.
Yeah,
easy,
anime gets
easy.
an A plus easy.
This does not get close to an A for me.
Not close.
Well, you'll see. You'll see my score. But
Yeah, you'll see mine.
So in the anime, it is their back and forth is so psychological, and they have to use their brains to outweigh each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I love psychological warfare in movies,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't seem, and nothing in the movie had shown me that either of these two characters were capable of the things that they pulled off in that chase.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And it didn't seem like L's character to have grabbed that gun. L almost...
His intentions of it were really good because Light is the one who basically got his master Watari killed.
I get that.
So his motivation was
that.
good in that scene.
but
That sense.
that's so unlike...
L in the anime.
Or in the movie. Like,
Yeah,
from what we
yeah.
did see... From everything we saw in the movie points to L... He knew who Kira was.
Yeah.
Like, he knew for a fact that he was Kira. He just had to prove it in a court of law, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what L loves to do. He said he doesn't carry a gun because
It's too distracting.
too distracting. If he solves all these... He gets amused out of solving all these cases psychologically. And everything in the movie... And even though I would have liked it fleshed out more so... Everything in the movie pointed to him wanting to defeat Kira
Mm-hmm.
psychologically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he lets his emotions get to him when Watari was his
When Watari-
friend.
Yeah.
but-
Watari is sort of like a father figure to him. Because he's been watching after him ever since he was like a little kid and old enough to
Yeah, but
finally crack the cases.
L is so like stable. Like
His
his-
character's
his-
really
his-
mentally stable.
his mentality is so like
Mm-hmm.
it just didn't work for me. Like
Yeah.
for him to have grabbed that gun and then chased Kira through the streets, he
Right,
could have shot Kira like days ago, and then
Mm-hmm.
now he's like, "Whoa, I gotta stop you because he killed my dad."
Yeah.
kind of.
Dad figure.
I don't know.
But anyways,
didn't-
back to the- yeah.
So that scene I didn't like. I would have much rather them have used that time to kind of psychologically
Yeah. Best each other.
Yeah. Anyways.
But anyway, back
go-
to it.
Go for it.
So at the end of the chase, L, he gets hit in the back of the head by a guy who works at like a restaurant that they're behind in like an alley. So he gets hit in the back of the head. And one thing I didn't like, Light could have picked up that gun out of his hand and he could have shot L right there. He would have had no, like, he could have got away. I didn't want L to die, but I'm just saying, if I was Light, I would have done that.
Especially that Light. Like he didn't seem like he had a problem with.
Yeah, he didn't have a problem
Physically,
with killing him.
Like in the, again, but in the anime,
Yeah.
like
In the anime, he really wanted L to die.
Yeah.
He wanted L out of his way.
exactly. But he wouldn't. I don't think he would have picked up a gun to do it.
Mm-mm.
He would have tried to find a way to. He was so focused on catching his name, even in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels like in Light's character in the anime, he would have more liked to best him again psychologically.
Yeah.
But in the movie, there was nothing that pointed to me that he wanted to best him psychologically. He just wanted L out of his shit, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was no reason for him to not pick up the gun and then just kill him right there.
Mm-hmm.
From what they developed in the movie up to that point, because he was already worried about Mia.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it would have been in his best interest and his character appropriate for his
Yeah.
character to have just shot
Yeah.
him.
But anyways, Light, he goes to him and Mia earlier on in the movie. They go to this Ferris wheel up here, and he tells Mia to meet at the Ferris wheel, and so Light runs to the Ferris wheel and he meets Mia there, and so Light runs to the Ferris wheel and he meets Mia there, and at the same time the cops are chasing after Light and Mia. And they finally get on the Ferris wheel, and so they're alone, and they're going to the top. And in Light's plan that he wrote out that the Ferris wheel would break, and so him and Mia they sort of fall out, and Light's holding on to part of the Ferris wheel, and he's holding he has Mia in his other hand, and he the Death Note's about to fall out, and it looked like he dropped her, but I think they meant it out to be she slipped out of his hands. And so she slips out of his hands, and she grabs the page that she wrote in it, that she wrote Light's name, and she grabs the page out of the Death Note as he's falling, and then this is when the epic music starts playing, and Mia, there's close-up of Light's face, all funny and stuff, and he's horrified that she's falling, and she's falling to her death, and while this 80s soft music's playing, and it back again to the music choices, but I really liked it. But Mia, she lands on the pier and she dies instantly, and then Light falls into the water, and then that page that she pulled out, it flies into this barrel of fire. And then I remember when we were watching it, you go, well, that's convenient, because they haven't explained the plan yet.
It kind of pissed me off. I was like, oh, of course it went in there. But then, it makes sense later when he's explaining it. But it just seemed way too.
What did you think of the green screen during that scene? Because a lot of people were saying that the green screen's really shitty, and they were saying it looked awful.
Yeah, a little bit.
You thought it looked bad?
Just the Ferris wheel when it's shifting, when it kind of.
Yeah, a lot of people said the close up of Light when he's making the yelling face when he's seeing Mia fall to her death. A lot of people were saying that the sparks behind him and stuff. It
didn't make any sense, because if you think about it, he had premeditated that whole sequence. So why would he even try to save Mia if he knew that she had already wrote that he was.
Well, in a way, he sort of loved her, but there's
he didn't anticipate for her to take the Death Note, but because he wrote that stipulation if she takes it from me.
Yeah, and then she grabs it, and he's like, "No, don't do that."
Then he's trying to stop it, but then he can't. So maybe that makes sense, but
yeah,
in a way, he kind of knew that once she took it, that
she would die.
All that was gonna happen. So it's yeah, he loved her, but he was kind of sadistic in that way too. So
do you think he knew, because at that moment his mind was also doing the things in the Death Note, and as your mind does that, you're not going along with what your actual life, you're going along with the events in the Death Note. Do you think that the Death Note sort of controlled his mind a little bit, or what?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Maybe you can headcanon it to kind of believe that.
Yeah, but
in a sense, he already knew. Well, he had killed 400 people.
Over 400 because
in the sense where he's like, oh, this happens, and then they get hit by a bus, and then this happens.
Yeah,
once she took the Death Note, he knew exactly what was gonna happen. So for him to react the way he did, maybe didn't match up, but. I don't know. That scene was okay for me, I guess.
I liked that scene.
Then the ending kind of made up for it. Mm-hmm. In my eyes.
Yeah.
Alright, so... I don't know what more. So I don't know what more we can say, kind of, on the movie.
Yeah.
Just, you want to jump into, or I'll jump into scores here, and
Whatever one. You
all
and
right,
me.
all right. So, would I recommend seeing this movie? If you haven't seen the anime, maybe check it out. Because you don't. I almost wish I hadn't seen the anime first.
Yeah,
And
because then
and
you're just comparing the two in your mind.
Yeah. So
But we're gonna try to not compare it with the scores.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen the anime, or if you have and feel like you can judge it on its own merits,
Mm-hmm.
which again I agree is like incredibly hard to do. I feel like it can be a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I love the anime, I didn't love this movie,
Yeah.
but I found enjoyment in it,
Mm-hmm.
even though I had problems with it.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes for all movies. I think I'm gonna give this movie a B minus. I feel like I could put it on again and watch it and find enjoyment in it.
Mm-hmm.
Even like I said, even with all the problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I was comparing the two, obviously it doesn't hold anything to the anime. I get it.
Yeah.
No, I much prefer the anime if I were comparing them.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Without a doubt. But I feel like I wouldn't need to be drunk to like rewatch it.
Yeah.
No.
No.
So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Yeah, a B minus. It was almost a C plus, but
The ending sort of pushed it up a little bit.
yeah, it was riding in the C's until the ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just the whole L performance and Ryuk at the end,
Mm-hmm.
throwing in a little nudge to us. I don't know. I just
Yeah,
I bumped
yeah.
it up to a B plus. I feel like, again, I feel like I can get enjoyment out of it.
Yeah,
It's fun, but not phenomenal. So
Mm-hmm.
what were your kind of ending thoughts, and we can wrap things up.
So I was with you. I'm not the same score, but I was with you. I was thinking C plus the whole entire movie until the ending. I liked it slightly more. I'm gonna give it a B.
Hmm.
I thought it was like the performances in it. They're really good. It's just it didn't like the runtime with it. It needed to be like 45 minutes longer.
At least, yeah.
At least, if not even more. But yeah,
Pacing.
just the pacing and the runtime were just. Yeah, but I liked all the performances, and I really liked how how it concluded. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a B.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining me on this podcast. I know you were very excited for the release of this movie.
Oh yeah.
So I'm glad it kind of held up to your excitement a little bit anyway. Yeah, so thank you guys very much for listening to this podcast. Is there anywhere on the internet people can find you? You're not really active on Twitter or anything.
Nope.
But they'll see you on this channel, so
Yeah.
uh,
I'll make pop-ins every now and then.
yeah, so you guys can find me pretty much anywhere at Dom Does Reviews. I'm on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So you guys can hit me up there. And yeah, what did you guys think about this movie? I know most of you probably hated it, so and probably hate this that we liked it. But
Yeah.
whatever, film's subjective.
Mhm.
People are gonna love and hate everything you do. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. You guys can leave your comments and what you guys thought about the movie in the description below, and we can have a healthy conversation about it.
Yeah.
Or I can just delete your angry comments or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'll catch you guys in the next podcast. See ya.
See ya.